This session is Learn to Analyze Your Audience. Have you ever listened to a presentation and thought, what's the point of this? What does this have to do with me? If you have, the chances are the presenter didn't spend enough time thinking about you, the audience member, as he created his message. It's the responsibility of the communicator, the presenter, to make the message clear to the audience. Therefore, one of the very first things you should do when you're crafting your presentation is to analyze your audience. Whom are you targeting with this presentation? What do you know about the people to whom you'll be speaking? To motivate, persuade, sell, get buy-in, receive feedback, ensure understanding, or impact an audience in any way, you need their attention. And you can't get it without understanding something about who they are, what they need, and how they might react to the message. The more you know about them, the more accurately you can position your information so it reflects what's important to them and helps you reach your goals. Don't make the common mistake of presenting your information in the way you'd like to receive it if you were the audience. If you don't take the time to think through what will make your audience understand your message, you risk having little or even a negative impact on them. Let's start with some of the things you need to think about in order to analyze your audience. There are many factors you need to consider about your specific audience. You can see some of them on this list. The items you analyze depend on the situation and the particular audience. Remember, the characteristics of your audience help you determine not only what you will say, but in what order you'll say it, how long it will take, and what visual support you may need. After all, presenting a request to your CEO is very different from explaining a new policy to your subordinates. Let's look at how some of these audience factors might impact your presentation. Age, gender, cultural background, language. We call these the general demographics of your group. Think about the different examples, or even the different words you might choose, depending on the demographics of your audience. For example, you might speak differently to senior citizens than to a group of teenagers. For business presentations, level in the organization, decision-making authority, prior knowledge of the topic, and anything you know or can find out about your audience's attention span can be critical. For example, let's say you're making a presentation to your senior executives to get funding for a project. Do your key decision makers want you to net it out, give the big picture, and then give the details? Or would they prefer that you build your case, starting with specifics, and then give the conclusion? Sometimes you can infer the way someone will process the information based on his or her job function. A group of HR professionals will likely view most subjects differently than a group of accountants will. The thought process of HR professionals will often focus on people, while the accountants may focus more on quantitative information, the what as opposed to the who. If you know that the person you're presenting to has a short attention span, wouldn't you want to get to your point as soon as possible? If you know that your audience has prior knowledge of the topic, you don't want to rehash that information and risk losing their attention. Remember, you're looking for anything that will give you insight into how the audience may think or feel about your message. That insight will enable you to structure your information for maximum impact. So, how can you get the information you need about your audience? Start with what you do know and write it down. What prior interactions have you had with members of this audience? Have you seen these people in meetings? If so, what's their communication style? The smaller your group, the more information you should be able to get. Look for any clues that might tell you something about these specific people. If you don't know the people in your audience personally, do a little research. If they are within your organization or in client companies, can you gain any insights from someone else who knows them? If you do know your audience well enough, you can get very accurate information by simply asking them. Once you know what's most critical to them about your topic, you can really target your information to what they need and what it is they want to know. And if you're presenting to a group of strangers, there's still a lot you can learn. Why are they coming together? Whom do you know who can give you any information? If you're presenting to a professional association or other type of large gathering, can the organizers of the meeting give you some insight into the group? The most important thing is to actively think about your audience as you start planning your presentation. Now that you have all this great information about your audience, how do you use it? The information you gather can and should be used in several different ways. It can help you organize your topics and determine in what order you should cover your points. You can plan your strategy around what the audience knows and how it is they think. You can use what you've learned to grab the audience's attention by opening with something that you know is critical to them, or will startle them, or something that reflects their viewpoint in some way. Building trust and credibility is much easier if you show that you understand who they are and what it is that's important to them. Understanding the audience will also help you determine how deep you should go into any one topic. It can even help you choose specific words and phrases to incorporate into your presentation. In other words, every aspect of your message should target your audience. Analyzing your audience and then using that information to target your message is your path to making the impact you want with your presentation. Thank you for using Communispond's Learn to Analyze Your Audience for maximum impact. For more information about Communispond's products and services, check our website at www.communispond.com.